This is the Willpower Podcast, live at Growth Code Conference. No scripts, no fluff, just real conversations with SLP, OT, and PT owners in the room. They're sharing what's working for them right now. And today I'm joined by an amazing leader, someone that I truly can't put enough emphasis on. Lori Shaffer Clarke is the founder and CEO of a pediatric company and organization that has almost 500 employees. And we're going to dive into how she built this culture that scales and the people-first leadership philosophy she has that took her from treating kids in her living room to running one of the most connected teams I've ever seen in the industry. Here we go. Lori, welcome to the Willpower Podcast. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate this.
And let's just get right to it. You have almost 500 employees. You're a speech pathologist treating people in your living room years ago. Now you're in this business 25 years-ish, give or take. You have 500 employees. I would like the audience today to learn about how you develop a culture that scales like that. Because your culture is unique. It's very connected. People love where they work. And I can only imagine the complexity of having 500 employees across countless locations, how you're able to maintain consistency around those things. So can you share a little bit about how that evolved over time for you?
Yeah, so it's not just me. It's all about the people that you place in your village and the people you surround yourself with. So I've been very fortunate with the leaders that we've got in place. Currently, we've been nurturing some clinicians that are going to lead the company in the future.
I see. So you've got people you're gearing for the long term.
Exactly. Yep. And then in addition, we have clinic directors at every one of our sites. And each of the clinic directors has a therapy manager underneath them that oversee the speech PTOT side, and then an ABA manager that oversees the ABA side. They all funnel up to the clinic director. Our headquarter office, which is where the leadership team starts with every other department, which is finance, HR, billing, recruiting, digital marketing, sales marketing, operations, and customer service. We all support that, each of our centers. We actually meet weekly with the clinic directors. We have virtual meetings. There are 2 hours a week where they have to report on their weekly KPIs. But in addition, we do a lot of training. We bring speakers in. We train in that 2-hour seminar. Every year we have a theme.
Okay.
Last year's theme was servant leadership and customer service, because we really feel like they go hand in hand.
Sure.
So we used the book, Walt Disney's book on customer service.
Yes.
And so there was a lesson taught every week on that. We brought the fierce communication coach in. I forget exactly where he came from. We bring speakers in to give our clinic directors, therapy managers, and ABA managers tools to be successful.
So they're not going to all 500 employees. You're focusing on developing the top leaders.
Yes, so that it's all about teaching them. So our mission is we reveal the super in every child. But in order for us to reveal the super in every child, we have to learn how to reveal the super in ourselves, or take care of the super in ourselves.
And maybe reveal the super in the child within us.
Or within us.
Because it's funny, because that language really feels applicable to all those domains.
Right. Yep. So this year's theme is teamwork. And so we're teaching, you've got the Olympics coming up. In order to be a team member, you also have to make sure you're physically fit.
Right.
So we have fitness challenges monthly. We have, there's a wellness seminar that we have everybody going to, which is a women wellness seminar where it's based on spirituality, mental health as well, so that they can learn how to take care of themselves. In addition, we're bringing in we have speakers coming in for both speech PT, OT, and our behavior analysts, that whole teamwork aspect that's speaking about executive function, because that focuses across all 4 disciplines. In addition, we've always focused on our premise is that we function from a clinical Venn diagram approach,
okay,
where everybody overlaps our skill sets, so that the center is the parent and the child, which once again is all teamwork, that clinical Venn diagram.
Right.
So everything we do, we focus, around the teamwork aspect.
Wow.
In addition, we do a lot of charity. We have annual charity events that we do. So each center has a responsibility, and they choose a charity that they're going to serve in their local community.
Wow.
And then the entire company does Toys for Tots. I don't know if that's a national thing or just unique to Michigan, but we have a competition who can bring in the most toys that are being donated to Toys for Tots.
So you mentioned a lot of elements here, kind of dissecting that a little bit. You've got this educational piece where you're constantly investing in training for the leaders. This means I hear you have your standard operating trainings really dialed in for entry-level positions and everything below the leaders. So those have been dialed in, I'm guessing, for years. Your focus at your scale is the leadership development of the top % of those people leading the charge.
Yep.
In addition to that, you have these programs that help develop them in individual senses, like their physical, their mental, their spiritual. But then you're also creating experiences for them where you're giving them the opportunity to really connect and do those elements through charities where they can pick their own, but then you have one unifying with the Toys for Tots. I mean, it's neat because I am familiar with all those different channels. I think the thing that blows my mind is the scale. Like all I think about as you're talking is who's in charge of organizing all this stuff.
We have an awesome operations team, but I wanted to focus on one other thing that we actually bring. We bring massage therapists to our centers, and they get 30-minute therapy sessions scheduled while they're at work.
Oh my gosh!
So that really has helped.
How's the response on that?
It's I think we've been doing it so long. I'm not hearing like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're doing it. They've grown accustomed to it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because then they are learning to take care of themselves. Some of them have gone out and are starting to do that on their own because there's something to be said about those massages, what it does to your body and your mind, the endorphins.
Absolutely. I think it's one of those where it's a good sign when you stop hearing about it, because if you're not hearing about it, they're so used to it that like, if they ever thought about leaving, they'd have to like, wait a minute, like it hit them then. I don't get these things that are just part of my existence now.
Yep.
So that's amazing.
So one other thing we've had to add from a leadership standpoint is we have what we call regional discipline directors. And so because of the number of our centers, so our clinic director can only be responsible for so much of that clinic.
It's so big.
Yeah. Well, the clinic directors are either a speech PTOT or a behavior analyst.
Yeah.
So if someone say the behavior analyst is the clinic director and we have a speech pathologist who needs help clinically, we have what called a regional discipline director. So that director has a region, and when they go to those centers, they see just the speech pathologist for this.
Oh, okay.
And then the ones that are OTs go to just see the OTs, and they meet their therapists just like we do for therapy. We meet them where they're at and help lift them up. So
how do you mean? Like, are they training them to be better in their positions? Are you talking about
training in their positions from a clinical standpoint? Some of them, this is their first job, even out of grad school. They have a master's or doctorate degree. They don't understand how to be an employee, what's expected. So they help with that. They're the mentor as well.
I was going to ask. So they feel that mentorship role and maybe that like non-leader, because we were talking about that yesterday in our training, how, by the way, we're at Growth Code 26, in case you're wondering why the background noise is there. But we were talking about that, how you need a leader, but that's not the same person as the friend. The friend and mentor is that safe person who really sees you, knows what your journey's like, is cheering you on, is someone they look up to because they are experienced and they're nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
They also do our quality assurance checks.
Oh, okay.
We need to make sure that all of our therapists are, they're documenting the right way. They understand what they're doing, the disorders, and treating accordingly. So we have some fidelity checks that they do. They get to observe them in therapy. If they're a clinical fellow, that'll be their clinical fellow supervisor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and then they're the ones that help report on a biweekly basis, the red, yellow, green that you showed.
Yeah.
So that those reports are reported out every 2 weeks, and they help meet those people so that they can get up to that level where they're supposed to be.
That's truly amazing. I'm guessing that goes much better for the clinician when that person that they trust, that mentor who's checking in and being like, hey, John, it's your first 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about what you're stressing with. Mm-hmm. What can I do to help you get to where you want to go? Mm-hmm. That later, when they're evaluating them, it doesn't feel like Big Brother in the corner of the room watching them do things. It's more like that good friend going, hey, can I take a look at how things are going and give you some friendly tips?
Actually, you know what else they do? If they feel like the therapist is overwhelmed and behind on documentation, they're like, how about if I cover your caseload today? And so they'll cover their caseload and allow them to get caught up on work.
Oh my!
And that is actually one of the ways that it gets that person their billable requirements. So they cover their PTO time. They help cover when things are too much for them. So
I've never heard that.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, because people are feeling overwhelmed and we're trying to figure out ways to kind of help them.
They have to realize that's not something they'll ever experience anywhere else. I've literally never heard that in all my years going across the country talking to people. It's one of those things where I can only imagine the connection you'd have with the mentor as a result of them doing that, and then to the company as a result of knowing that that's how well organized they are,
Yeah.
and how they must feel for. They must feel like they're cared for as they have these people working hard just to over relieve them who get caught up.
Yeah.
So when they are caught up, they reset.
Yep. And then we have people that don't understand or need more assistance with feeding and swallowing.
Yes.
So we have a 12-week course that's one of our OTs who happens to be a national speaker on the topic.
Wow.
And the person it's a 2-hour for 12 weeks, one week for 2 hours a day. And then at the end of it, they have to do competency training. Sorry about that. Yep. To make sure that they're ready to take those feeding and swallowing evaluations.
So I can see how you're caring for your people culturally, and I can actually see how it scales. So these regional mentors, they report, I'm sure in your org structure, they report up to some more VP level.
They report up to the leadership, which is where the discipline directors are.
Discipline directors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it could be a whole different episode that I want to get into, is this idea of like how your org structure looks, just because at that size, you have layers upon layers overseeing quality assurance. We all have the same divisions of a company, but like what quality assurance looks like at your level is so much different. But what I think is interesting is when smaller practices are developing, they don't even know they have a need for a quality assurance division.
And that's huge.
They say, one of my coaching groups said it's the most important division next to the communication division, because those two are where all the controls happen to make sure the quality is good.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when we're small, we don't really need a quality division because we are the division. When I am a single provider treating in my clinic and I have 4 people under me and I'm the director and all these things, I can see all the way across my company. But when you have 500 people, you need layers of people doing that for you.
Mm-hmm.
But they feel supported by it. You're not checking in on them.
No.
They feel like it's support to them. And that's a key shift I've never thought of before.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that quality assurance piece coming in. You've got that physical care and those types of elements. And then you said, who was in charge of all this again? Who are the people that are implementing all these programs and all these things?
Yeah. So we have a department, operations department. So they're non-clinical, but they make sure that all of our facilities are taken care of. They handle all the authorizations. They kind of dovetail with the billing department.
Ah.
And then the people in the clinics are called clinical support specialists. And then we have regional operation managers who have so many facilities that they oversee from a physical standpoint, make sure it's clean, the IT's working, toilets are working, water's running,
Wow.
all that kind of fun stuff, right? But yeah, so we have we're very fortunate.
You have it off. What were the key things that helped you figure this out? Was it coaching? Was it mentorship groups? Was it certain books you read? Like, what did you do? What were the key things that you could tell the audience that were elemental in you figuring out this very beautiful but complex seeming business?
I know it's a kind of a combination of that 30,000 point of view, looking, reading various books, always being, I think the biggest key in life is to be posture to learn and learn from others, to be taught to learn. And so reading books, listening to other people, listening to people that work for you, and that type of thing.
Interesting. So you didn't have a lot of external mentors and sources?
I don't know.
But it sounds, this is the third time I've heard this while filming these episodes over these days at Growth Code. Some of the most successful cultures are built, even the strategy. They say this, Peter Drucker, that culture eats strategy for breakfast. It feels like what you built was less about where you wanted to go and more about what you heard from your people.
Yeah. And I think the other premise is the golden rule: treat other people the way you want to be treated. And that's the other thing I try to focus on. Like, I'm not going to ask people to do anything that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing. So
yeah, we had Haley was on earlier on this call. She's in her early 30s. She'll be a Lori. Like, she's got so much going for her. Everything she's building is in response. That golden rule, people might hear that in the show and just kind of glaze over it like they've heard it their whole lives. But here's what I want to punch to my rock stars who are listening is what you're saying when you say the golden rule is, what if I was them as them? Like, what if I was that speech pathologist as, not as me, but as them? And then you ask them questions to investigate what life is like for them. And then you build programs, cultural elements, whatever that is around suiting those needs. And you can't individualize it, your company to everyone's specific, every issue, but you can find trends and you can address them from that way. And it, so when you were doing did you do yearly strategic planning when you were building your company?
Oh, not initially. No.
Okay. So how long ago did you start doing that?
Probably about 10 years ago at the most.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
So for 15 years you were building. Did that help when you added that?
Yes, it did.
Okay. So for those 15 years where you weren't
That's
doing...
actually when I got married and now I'm with my current husband.
Yeah, the controller.
You're doing what? And you don't have a plan? Well, Lori, let's sit down and do this. I'm like, why?
So
it made a huge difference.
I got to just say to the rock stars again, this is the most living example, the best proof I've ever heard of culture eats strategy for breakfast. Because you didn't wake up every year and go, this year we're going to grow by this % and here's where I want to go. You said, what do you guys need? You want leadership. Let's train leaders. Oh, you need to expand. Let's open more clinics. I'm guessing that's how you...
Yeah. Okay. So that, and I always follow the lead. So, my story is I started because, I was working with a bunch of mean SLPs.
Mean.
SLPs.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And I was pregnant and I'm thinking, holy moly, I can't even take care of myself. I'm going to take care of myself and now a baby. So I started seeing kids after school for work. Mentioned someone at work or at church one day, and they're like, what are you going to do after your maternity leave? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't really want to go back. And this is what I started doing. She goes, oh, let me turn you on to the homeschool population. So I went to this homeschool conference, kind of exhibited. I was like 8.5 months pregnant, got a slew of kids. And then I started seeing kids on the side that way. And so anyway, fast forward, just telling special ed directors that we were available to do therapy after school and stuff.
Yes.
They started asking me if I would fill this position or that position. And I'm like, sure. I never said no. So before I knew it, I simultaneously started a staffing company and I was in 7 states. And so in 2008, back then, insurance didn't pay for kids to have therapy. Am I going on a tangent?
No, I'm just like, I kind of looked over just because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane.
So insurance didn't pay for kids to have therapy. So it was all private pay.
Yes.
And then I created these, parents loved them, and summer camps. And I outgrew the building that we ended up purchasing. I went from my basement to a building I purchased. Then I started renting schools in the summer to do these summer camps. And then we got so busy with these school contracts and I had these little girls and I'm like, heck, I got the month of July off. And unbeknownst to me, well, parents were having a hard time paying, even though I was making them pay up front. They would beg me, please, my kid needs therapy.
Right.
But it was the summer of 2008 when I decided I'm closing my clinic. I'm not doing the camps anymore. I broke every parent's heart. And it was the best fiscal decision I ever made because it was on the heels of the Great Recession.
You had no idea.
I had no idea. But parents just said no one had discretionary income, even for wanting to do what they could for their child.
Right.
So I'm like, I felt bad, but I was spending more time trying to collect money or asking parents to pay. And the money was just coming for the school contract. So
right.
I kept that up, and that's recession proof, school contracts.
Right.
So anyway, I grew it, and then I went through something personal. And all of a sudden I woke up one day and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have all these therapists. I just want to take care of myself and my girls.
Yeah.
And I want to work for someone. So I sold what I had to one of my competitors.
Oh my gosh.
What they told me behind what they said their culture wise, I said I built my business on the golden rule. They were like, oh, of course we did that. And so when I became part of their senior management and saw what was behind
that they didn't do it.
Yes, I gracefully bowed out. I left money on the table. But at the meantime, insurance was transforming. I had a smart attorney who only sold my DBA off. I was in 7 states.
Oh.
Sold my DBA off, and then I started all over again. And
what year was this?
This was 15. I started all over.
2015?
Yeah.
Whoa, 10 years ago.
Yeah. And then I had to start over again in 2020 because we were in a state where we had to shut down. Only to find out I was an essential business. So 6 weeks later, I opened up after I laid everybody up. So 2020, we started again.
Oh my gosh.
So
wait, in 2020, you started over with new employees from scratch?
Well, I would bring everybody back, but yeah, we only had like 89 employees then in 2020.
Oh my word.
Mm-hmm. But so how I ended up getting the clinics was I started renting from churches. I decided that if I was able to staff schools all over, because we did speech, PTOT schools, like school site.
And no physical locations were needed at this point.
No.
Did you have any physical locations
Just-
up until 2020?
Just the building that I bought.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was like our little headquarter office. And so I thought, hey, if I can rent, or if I can staff across the country, why don't I open up little centers?
Yeah.
Because, it's hard to schlep kids around to go to therapy.
Absolutely.
So I started renting from churches until I built up enough clientele to then have enough money to get a center.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so.
Way to mitigate that expense, because that would be such a scary thing. So
Yeah.
having the business bleeding out from the seams before you buy the building is huge.
So it was just speech and OT. There was some case managers in town that introduced me to an older gentleman who had sold his ABA company. He was a behavior analyst, one of the call him the grandfather of BCBA in Michigan, because it was, older guy, kind of a unicorn. And he always felt ABA needed speech and OT. So they put us together. He helped me develop the ABA program.
Wow.
The only way he knew it was home-based.
Yes.
When I realized that the person who's with the kid the most has literally no education.
Sure.
I'm like, this is a recipe for disaster. So I pulled it all back in. And when I did that, I created a niche of about 18 months to 6 years. And then I created, in essence, full-time jobs for speech, PT, and OT.
Wow.
Because when we're not having outpatient kids, we see our kids with the diagnosis of autism.
Wow.
Yep. So
I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around the fact that you had basically started over in 2020 and you have 500 employees in 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So was there momentum from before with all those other businesses that like caught up with you, or?
I think there was such a need in Michigan. Now we're completely saturated. There's a new.
So 5 years ago, there was this huge need. People were looking for work. You had the contracts. You were able to connect them all.
Yep. And not only the contracts, all the insurance companies, and we're a one-stop shop. So it makes it easier for parents.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Lori, this is so exciting. And I think the coolest thing is how you've been able to scale these cultural elements together. What are some of the challenges that you face in scaling culture at that size?
Well, right now, the hardest person to find is a speech pathologist.
I see.
Yep. And there are some bigger players that have moved into the area that are following footprints, which make it.
They're copying what they saw. They like it's the blueprint is out there and they're following it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So staffing. Staffing is one of the bigger issues.
Yes. Right now. Yep. That's the biggest issue. Yeah.
Okay. And more than PT?
Yeah.
PT, I hear a lot of that being in the PT space myself. I hear tons of just like, every big company's like, we can't hire PTs.
Yeah. It's it's more speech. The volume for speech is greater than, unfortunately, than pediatric PT.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
My gosh. Well, Lori, this has been so phenomenal having you on the show.
I
No, it was so good. I am just so blown away by the scale of it. I think culturally, the big takeaways that I'm getting from this is that some of those elements that we understand are proven at a higher scale. Like when you're talking about like the importance of listening to your people are like, yeah, of course. Everyone just kind of dismisses these seemingly obvious bits of advice. You built a strategy for 15 years around it. Like that's how you were successful. You also stayed true to your core values, which is huge when you walked away from that one business that didn't follow the golden rule, which by the way, every company that doesn't follow the golden rule says they follow the golden rule. Mm-hmm. And then you got to that point where you finally had all those pieces together. And the part that I'm just honestly mind blown over, it took 5 years from scratch again. Mm-hmm. I thought it took you 25 years to get to 500.
No, I think some of it is just having already done a business.
Yes.
And knowing because when I was stuck in the middle with that other company, I'm like, this is not how you treat people. It was disappointing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so those little things we hear, oh, you got to listen to your people. It's like, this is what's possible. When you hear things like, no, you should do things that they need in order to help you grow and scale, like massage chairs, whatever. Mm-hmm. This is what happens. This is what's possible. And now you're in this fraction of a percent of human beings who've accomplished what you've done in your life. And I know there's people around you and it wasn't just you and all that, but it always comes down to the leader. It always does come down to that piece of it. So I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Oh boy.
That I'm really excited. I always like to wrap my shows up around these rapid fire questions. So if you had to pick one successful action more than any other action that is the most important in building culture for a company, what would you say it is?
I think it's just really listening to the people
Yeah.
and reading body language.
Whoa. That second part. I mean, the
Yeah.
first one, I'm like, yeah, that's so deep and meaningful. I get, but body language, why is that?
Because I think that body language really tells how people are feeling. I try to tell my leaders.
You're pretty awesome at that. The 2 times you kind of checked in with me, it's because I know I shifted my body a little bit, and I'll tell you a little bit what that was about. But it was like, whoa, you were so aware.
And I try to teach my leaders that, like, you got to I call it read the room. You
Yeah.
got to make sure, are they really comfortable with what's being said? Because if not, you need to say, hey, okay, this is what I see. Are you sure you're feeling that way?
Yeah.
And let them know it's okay to share their thoughts. Because sometimes, as I tell people, we don't know unless you tell us what you need
Right.
help with.
I think you have a superpower around that. I really do.
Our whole company's based on super.
Your superpower is reading body language. So that was what you were saying. So when I heard you say, let me say it back to you, is really hearing your people matters,
Yeah.
but hearing what they're not saying
Yes.
with their mouths
Yep.
as much as what they're saying with their mouths.
Yep.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
profound, Lori.
Yeah. I don't know.
You could have given a pretty easy answer on that, and I would have been impressed, but that was something I'll never forget. All right. Second one is, what is a book? Normally I actually make this lighter. I'm going to make it heavier for you because I'm so amazed by you. What's one of the key books that you've read over your journey that's made an impact on you, that's helped you get to where you are?
Well, I actually think the Bible gives me a lot of direction.
Let's go.
I'll read things, I'm like, holy cow, this is so profound.
Yes.
So it's amazing what you can pull out of the Bible.
One thing I say, and I didn't say it from stage this time, but one of my favorite things to say, I learned this from somebody, and I believe it to be true. The best leader in any group is the person who loves the most. And love can look like a lot of things, right? Oh, I did say that. I think I did say that the first day. But it's one of those things where, like, people challenge me on that and they call it foo-fooey or fluffy and all these things. And I'm like, no way. You look at what Jesus did, what he overcame, how he spoke to people, whether or not people believe he was the Son of God or not. It's like his impact cannot be denied.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at what love looks like. And when people who are just like still challenging that, I'll say this: who in your ancestor line had the biggest impact on you and why? And we think of somebody, and there's a reason, because that leader of that family, so usually a parent or a grandparent, right? That leader loved and really like listened to you,
Mm-hmm.
like really connected with you. And that's what leadership is. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how you develop culture. The best Bible is the book is the Bible. You're the first person to ever say that. and is the best answer.
It is. And I think we convolute life too much. Like it's so simple.
Yeah.
We make life too complicated. Say that to my husband. I'm like, I guess maybe I'm just old fashioned, but why are we making this so complicated?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So more of a fun question. Where's somewhere in the world that you've been that you love, or somewhere you were looking forward to going?
Well, I'm going to Greece in a few weeks.
Yeah.
I've not been there, but
I have. You'll love it.
looking forward to it. I have to. I've been very blessed. I've been able to travel a lot. I will say, because we've already discussed it, my trip to Uganda
Yeah.
was life changing, and I think that's one thing. It's just profound. I mean, every sense was challenged in that community. The smells, what I saw with the people, just staring and looking at the contentment, the happiness, and then I think about. I don't know if I mentioned the smells, especially in some of the
very
movies.
intense, very intense.
But it was life changing. Like it's hard to believe that we live the way we do, and you're going to just in another country and it's completely different.
It's amazing. Knowledge is power, as they say.
Knowledge is extremely powerful.
And so when you go and you get the knowledge of perspective,
yes,
it shifts everything forever if you let it. Now, I will say, having been to Africa multiple times, the first time I went, it shifted me for a while. This last time was different for me. And I'm really grateful that it was different for me. It hit me in a different way. And I'm so glad that you've had that experience. And I think you can both challenge anyone who's listening to please go somewhere uncomfortable where there's more suffering.
Yep.
And you'll find greater peace, ironically.
Mm-hmm. Just one quick story. So
please.
My youngest daughter was on the receiving end of some mean girl stuff when she was in high school.
Oh, man.
And so, with all the texting and social media and stuff. And so it was, I remember it was between her sophomore or junior year, but she went on a mission trip to Honduras.
Wow.
And she came home and she's like, Mom, I can't believe I let those mean girls get the best of me.
No way.
My life is nothing compared to what I just saw in Honduras. She completely changed her attitude, got all new friends, and moved and just tallied on. I was super proud of her just from that kind of trip. It was life changing for her. So, like you said, people need to experience different cultures because it's mind blowing.
There are so, like, I'm preaching to the choir, but it's more for the audience. There's so many cultures out there who desperately need, that are suffering in financial poverty, that can benefit from the excess that we don't realize we even have.
Yep.
So that when we go and exchange that, what we get in return is the social cure to the social poverty that we struggle with here in the United States and other countries. We need them as much as they need us. It is equal. God put us in these positions of various inequalities of standards of living and suffering, so that we would learn to come together as his children and find peace through him. And it's so scary to go do those things, but it's like the coolest thing ever. And it's just
so cool.
Yeah. And I think that has so much to do with why you've been so successful, because you've always, it's never been about like a prize for you.
Yeah.
It's never been pride for you. I was shocked yesterday in my room. You had some of the most humble answers. And I was like, oh, by the way, I've got 500 employees, like mic drop in terms of results. But I think that is kind of the point, is that the people who really are in tune with something bigger with them than themselves are able to access a power they don't even know they had.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, see, look how humble she was, guys. Okay. One last question for you, Lori. Since I brought up the ancestor thing, did anyone come to mind when I brought up the ancestor that had maybe a loving impact on you, that really touched your life and had something to do with you?
I think it might have been a great grandmother.
Tell me about
very, very strong willed.
You knew with this great mother.
Oh yeah, I had the good fortune. I did know her. She kind of helped raise me when I was younger, and I kind of think that would have been that. But I think it was that and just other. To be honest, I've been very blessed. I had a lot of, I call them angels placed to my life. So
yeah. How did she? What was it about her that blessed you?
She just very outspoken, but very appropriate. Made sure that, knew I was loved. Had great advice. She was born in 1998. So she lived for a very, very long time. And so just the opportunity to see a woman in that type of role, to be outspoken, because usually people weren't,
She was born in 1898?
I said 1998.
Yeah, you said, I knew what you meant, and then I thought, oh, maybe the audience. But yeah, so 1898. Yeah. That's crazy. She was born in the 1800s and you knew her.
Yeah, isn't that the coolest thing?
Ever.
Yeah, she lived a very, very long life, and didn't make quite 100. I thought maybe I would see her on, a Centurion thing on what those shows are where they celebrate.
Right.
But that didn't, but yeah, she was cool. Lived on her own right up until the end.
Well, I can't thank you enough for sharing that. And Lori, thank you for taking the time to be on the show. Yeah. This has been such a beautiful experience for me. I admire scale of business, but more importantly, who it makes us become. The transformation of who we have to become in order to create that impact is proportionate. And we can't do it alone. And what you have done so humbly in this regard is different than what I normally see, because a lot of my growth has come from coaching or whatever in my networking group and all these things. But it has always been in the back of my mind, like all we need is God. All we need is to listen and love. Golden rule. Life is simple. We make it complex.
I do think that's the truth.
You live it.
Well,
you're living proof of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for being on the show. I share.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, rock stars, this is the end of the Willpower Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me with Lori. What a wonderful and sweet episode this has been. So go back to your wonderful lives, whatever you're doing, continue your walk. And just remember, as always, please lead with love and never forget that you should never give up. Until next time.